Puss in Boots joined us. He's had a troubled morning this morning. It seems to indicate the organic nature of our being, doesn't it? Just the curious nature. Every day we wake up and it's just a different state. And some days he wakes up and they're rare, but just cruising around inside, outside, outside, inside, yowling, and what am I to do about that? And it's just it's just the way we are, I suppose. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Another great mystery of the universe is this stuff called power. And as I mentioned at the start, a great world scripture, the recovery movement, of which I'm quite fond. But it's not the only spiritual system by any means, nor do they have a monopoly, as they themselves rightly claim. The great line is that lack of power, that was our dilemma. That was my dilemma. Lack of power. And a lack of power seems to put us in a position of being subject to a host of various ills and degradations of being and spirit and capacity in the world. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. So it says in the recovery movement that its purpose and the purpose of its system or process was to put us in touch with that great power and then it goes on to say to solve all of our problems, not just the one big alligator crawling up our leg when most of us stagger into the rooms of recovery, but even when some of us very silly folk put the plug in the jug, so to speak, there's still a few problems left over. But I think we all know that we humans, we are problem creatures. We seem to be besought with them. Oh, do you love me now? I super love you too. Oh, I'm glad you're happy. Anyway, so lack of power, that was our dilemma. And it continues to be an ongoing dilemma because don't we all have problems and situations we would certainly love to solve and resolve? Wouldn't you love to march around the world and see dilemmas and problems and solve them? And yet here we are, each one of us seems to have X amount of power, and it seems to be a variable. And I would bet that if you've been in the spiritual game for a while and you've been doing your best to get yourself in alignment with power, that you have more than you used to. And yet it's an infinite resource. But I was thinking as I was meditating that, in my cynical state, and I think the non-believer or the atheist or, the person who just doesn't really agree with the spiritual game, thanks for stopping by, you know, they could claim, if there is a God who has all power, why doesn't he just fix all the problems right now? It's like, why is there all the dilemmas in the world and childhood disease and unfairness and hurricanes and storms and tsunamis? And God, why don't you just use if you're the one who has all power, so to speak, why are we here suffering like this? Why don't you just fix it? Why don't you just fix it? Now, when I say that, it kind of reminds me of the way a child might complain to a parent. You as a parent, if you had kids, I didn't, but I can imagine, and I have a troublesome cat sometimes, but do you ever want to just solve all of your kids' problems for them? Were you that kind of parent? It's like, my kid's having a problem, I'll solve it for them. They're having another problem, I'll solve that. And then they keep coming with more problems, and you end up trying to solve all their problems until that becomes a problem. And then maybe, so I was thinking, maybe it's the fact that God is teaching us here on this planet how to find the power that we can use to solve problems rather than just solving all of our problems for us. Wow. And because if there's infinite power available to us that we could find and use and utilize to solve not only our own problems, not just problems of worldly circumstance and logistics like new cars and new boats and new planes and new clothes and But, the real problems that beset us, we were depressed, we were sad, we felt incapable of finding our mission or our purpose, or we were sick, or we were tired, or we were surrounded, or found ourselves in situations that weren't optimal for us expressing the truth of who we are. All these problems, and man, it really is the art and the science of life, isn't it? Aren't we really on a journey to find this power, this great power that is infinite, that's absolutely available to each and every one of us, but each and every one of us on any given day is either opening up to or restricting and constraining that power. And isn't it a wonderful adventure every day to wake up and to perhaps start our day with a prayer and say, God, show me how to connect with your infinite power. Show me where I'm blocking it and obstructing it. Show me where I can open up and allow and channel more of it. And isn't it just damn wonderful to solve a problem? I mean, there are so many really good spiritual religious people who really just can't solve a single damn problem. They dive into their spiritual books every single day. They're pious and proper. They can quote scripture up one side and down the other, and they can't solve a single damn problem. Could I put that in the first person? Perhaps. But it is really the clever, wise, intelligent, curious, interested spiritual person that begins to recognize there's no dearth of power. There's infinite power available to each and every one of us when we put ourselves into proper alignment with it. And each and every day is an adventure, a science, an aggravation, a glory, a wonder, a school, an education to get myself in alignment with that power. And I just think that's a wonderful adventure to engage in. And I think power is a topic we could talk about endlessly, but there's infinite power for you. You were meant to be a profoundly powerful being and march around the planet and help out so that God doesn't have to do everything for us. Anyway, what do you think of my ideas on power? Please tell me tomorrow, and I'd love to hear yours, and I'm sure we will prosper from that. Have a beautiful day, everybody.